Now, New York's #1 news. Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
You're a coward. You did a cowardly act. You're a coward. You're a punk. You're nothing. You're a scum.
Oh, that is one angry mom. A beloved baseball player shot and killed by a bullet that was not meant for him. And tonight, his grief-stricken mother demanding the shooter turn himself in.
Plus, disturbing claims against a local police officer. Were officers getting away with abuse? 7 on Your Side investigates.
But first, a tragic fire. Flames erupt inside an apartment in Harlem overnight, trapping and killing a family of 6. And good evening at 5 o'clock. I'm Diana Williams.
And I'm Sade Better-Noir. Investigators say the cause of that fire, a stove that was left on. The flames spreading so quickly, no one got out alive.
And just moments ago, we got this new video. This is from the FDNY, and it shows the damage. This is the stairwell area, the exterior stairwell. But this is a look at what is like now inside that apartment, just blackened and charred. We are also learning more tonight about the 6 people who were killed, 4 of them children under the age of 11.
We will have more on those victims in a moment, but we begin with Eyewitness News reporter Joe Torres with more on the investigation. Joe?
Sade, in the last few hours, the FDNY has managed to develop a working theory as to what went so tragically wrong inside this 5th-floor apartment building here at the corner of 142nd Street and Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard in Harlem. They're looking into whether the oldest victim, the 45-year-old mother, Andrea Polidor, actually fell asleep as she was cooking chicken in a pot on the stove. Furthermore, her sibling acknowledged to authorities that her sister often wrapped towels around the smoke alarm as she cooked so that the alarm wouldn't go off.
Up with them golden gates, welcome them in.
As the victims' relatives, friends, and neighbors in Harlem all consoled each other after this morning's deadly apartment fire, investigators sifted through the charred remains looking for clues that might confirm if someone actually disabled the smoke alarm in the victim's 5th-floor apartment.
Our records indicate that a smoke alarm combination carbon monoxide detector was installed in June of 2017 and that it was tested in January of 2019.
FDNY investigators this morning checked more than a dozen smoke alarms in neighboring apartments, including those above and below the fire scene. They all worked.
We want to make sure that we follow the facts and the evidence wherever it leads. It's really critically important that individuals be safe. Fire
marshals say the flames broke out in the kitchen after the stove was left on. The fire quickly spread to all the rooms of the large apartment. Firefighters found the victims, 45-year-old Andrea Polidor, her 4 young children, and her 33-year-old stepbrother in 2 rear bedrooms. They were trapped.
They were unable to get to either the door of their apartment or the windows that are on the fire escape, and that was it.
I want to say, as a father, hearing that 4 children were lost in a single family is just extraordinarily painful. 2 adults, 4 children. This is a gut-wrenching moment for all of us.
And this early morning fire here in Harlem, the deadliest fire in New York City since flames ripped through a Bronx apartment building. That was back in December of 2017. That fire killed 13 people. Live in Harlem tonight, I'm Joe Torres, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Joe. We have more on the victims. We learned late today that the mother who died suffered burns in another fire, another kitchen fire. Family members now dealing with this tragic loss. Eyewitness News reporter Darla Miles spoke with them and has that part of the story. She's live from Harlem. Darla?
Well, Diana, this is a colossal loss, not only for this family, not only for this community, but for anyone who finds out and hears that 4 children and 2 adults all died at one time. There's no way you can hear that and not be affected by this loss. And now we've learned that this mother moved here to Harlem after being in a fire in Brooklyn.
She lost her memory, she was in a coma and everything, and she fought to remember her first kids, to have more kids, to graduate from college, to get her nursing degree, associate's degree.
This isn't the first devastating fire suffered by Andrea Polidor. She was critically burned in a kitchen fire in Brooklyn in 2005, and again while living in a brownstone in 2013.
The person underneath her caused the fire, and she was sleeping, but they got her in time. She was just really like first-degree burns.
But tragically, the 45-year-old mother of 8 was unable to escape the inferno in the kitchen of her Harlem apartment early Wednesday morning. One of her older surviving children, 27-year-old Raven Reyes, doesn't live with her mother, but she and other relatives are completely heartsick over the loss of her younger siblings, 11-year-old Nakira, 8-year-old Andre, 6-year-old Brooklyn, and 3-year-old Elijah Polidore.
My sister was only 10 years old. My brother was 8 years old. My sister was 6 years old. My brother was 3 years old. My mom was only 44 years old. My brother was only 32 years old. Like, what a life. So short.
And 33-year-old Mac Abdul-Araf, Andrea's stepbrother, also died in the fire.
No words. You can't explain this. You can't really speak. Like, it's a loss. It's too many at one time at that.
Okay.
Too many. Too many. 6 people. Yeah. Come on now.
Now, there is an outpouring of community support for this family, not just community leaders, but local leaders, state leaders, and they will be showing that support at a vigil, a candlelight vigil here at this corner at West 142nd and Adam Clayton Powell at 7 o'clock tonight. Reporting live here in Harlem, Darla Miles, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Darla. And stay with Eyewitness News as we learn more about the victims in the fire investigation. We'll bring you updates on air and online at ABC7NY.
And right now we are following some breaking news. Another fire, this one burning in an apartment building in Union Square. Shannon Sohn is live in Newscopter 7. And Shannon, it looks like, I guess I was reading this is on the 4th floor?
Yeah, 4th floor of a 10-story apartment building here. And you can see wisps of smoke continue to billow up out of those 4th floor apartment windows. Now, at this point, there are about 4 or 5 tower ladders up and in operation. When we first arrived over the scene, there were flames shooting out of some of these windows and some thick black smoke. The fire department made entry into the building, and they are now on the floors above the 4th floor venting this fire. This is a 2-alarm blaze at this point. We're going to bring you back down to street level just to give you an idea as the fire department works to gain the upper hand on this fire. You can see all the residents that have been evacuated down here at 12th Street, East 12th Street, and University Place. They are trying to get the upper hand. At this point, there are no word on any injuries, but it looks like they are starting to get control of this fire. Reporting live over the East Village, Shannon Sohn, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Okay, Shannon, we'll keep an eye on this one. We also have more breaking news right now. A bad 3-car crash in Canarsie, Brooklyn. Newscopter 7 over the scene on Seaview Avenue near East 80th Street. 2 of the cars wound up on the grass. One of them also has rear damage, suggesting it may have slammed into the house. The other is up against a telephone pole. The 3rd car is down the block. At least 1 person has been hospitalized.
A mother tonight grieving over the sudden and unexplainable loss of her son. Tyshawn Christian was a standout pitcher for an amateur baseball team in Newark and a rapper. But on Sunday night, the 25-year-old was gunned down on Smith Street by a bullet the police say was meant for someone else. New Jersey reporter Tony Yates talked with his family, and they are mad. She has more live now from Newark. Right, Tony?
Hi, Diana. Such a sad story. You know, his friends and his family, they called him Tiki, and the only time he probably ever got in trouble was when his mother told him to do a chore and he forgot to do it. That is it. This was the kid who convinced other kids in this neighborhood to go to college. So whoever pulled that trigger took a leader from Smith Street.
You're a coward. You did a cowardly act. You're a coward. You're a punk. You're nothing!
Tanya Christian is enraged, and she has the most important, the most heartbreaking reason in the world to be. Tyshawn was 25 years old, her only son, shot dead Sunday night here on Smith Street, just yards from his home. Police sources know that Tyshawn Christian was not the intended target as a gunman fired into a group of people and fatally struck this Newark Astros baseball standout.
We heard the shots ring out. And then by the time we got out there, it was another mother cradling my son until he took his last breath.
He was that type of person that people looked up to because of where he came from, because he was able to stay away from the streets. He was positive, he was doing music, and he was working, and he just loved the sport of baseball. We play baseball every Sunday.
In a place where the streets can be mean, those streets did not catch this young man. Never arrested, never in trouble with the law. In fact, a role model to the kids who came behind him.
He influenced me to rap. He influenced me to go to school, pursue going to college.
Yeah, he ain't bother nobody. He didn't deserve this.
Tanya Christian had to do today a chore she never imagined she would ever have to do. She made arrangements to bury her only son, a loss that changes her life forever.
That's exactly what they did. They cut off my bloodline. Because I don't have no children. He has no children. So therefore, everything stopped when he stopped Saturday night at 11:09.
Tyshawn's brother-in-law is a cop here in Newark. Whenever he would hear about shootings, he would always call family members to find out where Tyshawn was and to make sure that he is okay. Well, he heard the 911 call on Sunday night, and he raced to the scene. Sadly, he did not get there in time to try to save Tyshawn's life. Police are still looking for the shooter. For now, we're live here in Newark, New Jersey. Tony Yates, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Well, our hearts go out to that family. The NYPD tonight searching for a suspect who attacked a Jewish man in Brooklyn. Surveillance video shows a young man running up behind the 39-year-old victim yesterday in Williamsburg, then hitting him on the side of the head. The suspect then ran off. The victim was not seriously hurt. Police are investigating the attack as an anti-Semitic crime.
We've got breaking news on Capitol Hill. The House Judiciary Committee just moments ago voting to hold Attorney General William Barr in contempt. The committee voted 24-16 to hold Barr in contempt for refusing to release the unredacted version of Robert Mueller's report to Congress. The contempt resolution against Barr now moves to the full House, and if it is approved, it would trigger a criminal referral to the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, who would then decide whether to prosecute. Meanwhile, President Trump now asserting executive privilege in an effort to shield the full Mueller report from Congress. He's also blocking the evidence Mueller's team collected for the report.
If it weren't for him being president, he'd be in prison with Michael Cohen today as individual one, and he obstructed justice as the Mueller report says it so.
Congress is still negotiating with Robert Mueller about testifying, possibly as soon as next week. Meanwhile, President Trump tonight responding to a bombshell New York Times report about his taxes. The Times found that between 1985 and 1994, Mr. Trump lost more than $1.1 billion. The losses were so staggering that for 8 years during that 10-year period, the future president did not have to pay taxes. The losses centered around Mr. Trump's core businesses, his hotels, casinos, and retail space in apartment buildings. The president, of course, taking to Twitter to defend himself, calling it a fake news hit job. Trump says real estate developers were entitled to massive write-offs. The Times reporter who broke the story disagreeing.
And coming up on this busy Wednesday, new information tonight about a deadly school shooting in Colorado. What we're learning about the gunman and the heroic student who died. Plus, new at 5, hateful words shouted at a gay couple at a restaurant on Long Island. But the couple isn't bitter. How they're hoping to turn this hurtful moment into a positive message. Plus, are cops getting away with abuse? 7 on Your Side investigates disturbing claims against a local police department.
Busy in the newsroom, but quiet in the weather office. Really beautiful out there. The park looks great. Lots of people enjoying the meadow this afternoon and evening. We're at a comfortable 65 on the satellite. There are some clouds off to the south. They stay put for now, but look for clouds to increase overnight. It does turn cooler. And coming up on AccuWeather, we're going to track some drizzle for tomorrow afternoon, and it starts a bumpy ride that takes us right into the weekend. AccuWeather's coming up next on Eyewitness News at 5.